What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Everyday Discipline, where we decode, deconstruct, and reverse engineer self-discipline for you to get whatever it is you want in your life. My name is Brent Kokel, and I am your host. As always, I love it when you're here on the show with me because of what it says about you. So many people say they want to do something better with their life. So many people say they want to make more money. They say they want to have a better body. They say that they want to have better relationships, like more connected. How many of them actually do something about it? They actually take steps, actions that get them the things that they say that they want. Because most of them don't. Most of them don't, and which is why most people are stuck accepting mediocrity, like being forced to choke on the mediocrity in their own lives. But that's not you, because you're here. And if you're here, that means you want something better for yourself. But as you know, or if you're new to the show, you don't, and so I'll remind you right now, there is a fee to listening to this show, which is to take an action after you listen to the show in the next 24 to 48 hours, the simplest possible action for you that's going to improve your life in some way based on the lesson and the story that I share inside of the episode. That's the fee. And I really expect it to be paid. I expect you to do something out of this, not for me, right? Because I don't know you. Like, I know some people in the real world that are in my actual social circles that listen to this show. And so in that case, I do know you and I want you to do something about this. But for most of you, I don't know you and I'm not going to. Like, we don't live in the same town. We don't do the same stuff. So it isn't for me. Like, don't do something about what you hear in today's episode for me. Do something for you because of what you want and the place that you're going. Okay? All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the episode for the day. So I talk to people a lot about goals. It's one of the things that I do as a consultant. It's one of the things that I do as a mentor. We talk about increasing revenue and we talk about increasing profitability. Those are the primary two things that we work on. Make more money top line, make more money bottom line, but we focus on the bottom line first because when you get to the top line, it makes all the top line that much more valuable. We talk about goals a lot. I was talking to a guy about goals last week. And one of the goals that he had was that he wanted his business to be able to pay him without him having to go there. Right? He didn't want to have to go there. He didn't really frame up how much that actually needed to be. And so there's a process that we work through to reverse engineer the amount that you need comfortably to live your life, which AKA, it's always less than you think it is. People are thinking they need like $25, $30 million, $50 million. They need a $100 million company. You really don't to live a really, really nice life. And so we go about reverse engineering that, which usually helps because it takes the pressure off. We figured out what that was, and then we got to the number. And then there was this like lull in the conversation where he was happy and I'm going like, well, we're not even there yet. We're not even close to there yet. Because the goal itself isn't actionable. It isn't actionable. Let's say that your goal is to make $500,000 this year, or your goal is to buy a Lamborghini, or your goal is to go on a $30,000 vacation to Hawaii, or whatever it is. That's not actionable. It's not. You can say that's what you want, but if you just say what you want and then you stop there, you're not really going to make it. It takes a tremendous amount of belief to even get close to it, but you're not going to make it if all you do is make a declaration and say, that's where I want to go. So instead, what I want you to do, and this is the lesson for today's episode, is I want you to focus on the actions that produce the result. So if you look at your big goal, whatever your big goal is, and I'll break one down here for you in a minute as an example, but whatever your big goal is, you've got to figure out a way to make it actionable. Because if it's a really big goal, it's going to take you some time to accomplish. It's not something that next week we are going to fill in whatever blank you want to fill in. It's something that is going to take you a considerable amount of time. Usually if you're setting a goal, I would have you consider that we'll set a goal for a year. Like if we want a big goal, and then there's a process of breaking that down. But let's say we're going to set it for a year. Now that is a very long time. It's a very long time out there, especially when you're productive and you're efficient, where we're getting done more in 3 years than most people are getting done in a single year. But you have to be able to have this long-term goal, but it's unactionable when it's way out there. You've got to figure out a way to make it actionable on a daily basis. And that's what happens when you focus on the actions that produce the result rather than the result itself. It's something that forces you to plan, which is another thing that I see a giant gap in most companies, is they will have an idea of what they want to do most of the time. Sometimes it needs to be refined to have more clarity, but there is a lack in the planning process, which it's interesting that is, because the planning process, yes, it is an investment of your time, but it's not a tremendous amount depending on what the goal is, but people, for the most part, don't do it. They just don't. But I want to talk to you about it in more of a general context today, because I think that this show particularly, there are more people that they do the work, not necessarily the business owner that listen to this show, though cater to both when we talk about this. So I'm going to give you guys an example of just an individual person. And if you own a company, you can apply this to your company. But if you are just an individual person, then it'll work for you. And you need to be in control of your own income in order for this model to hold up. But let's say that you want to take home an extra $50K this quarter. And yes, I'm talking to you, high income earner, and you provide some kind of done for you service. Let's say that that's like contracting, for example, right? You're a general contractor. You want to take home $50K more this quarter than you provide, and you provide some type of done for you service. So we got a contractor. All right, let's look at the $50K, and it's not actionable. It's not. You can't just say, I want to make $50K extra this quarter and have it be actionable. So what you've got to have is you've got actions that are going to get you to the $50K. Say your average job is about $10K. You're doing some type of like little mini remodel, and your average profit is $2K. We'll do simple math on that, which means that you'd need 25 jobs to make $50K in top line. Now, how many proposals do you need to get out to get 25 jobs? Because if you want to make $50K, you need 25 jobs because it's $2K profit per job. How many do you need to send out to get 25 jobs? Well, now let's say that 40% is your win rate when you go give somebody a proposal. You go meet them at their house, you give them a proposal, you say, this is my bid to do the work that you want me to do. 40% of the time they're saying yes, which if you're winning 40% of the bids that you're putting out there, you're a really, really good salesman. You're like in the range of being in the top, right? 40% is a very, very good closing rate. So if that's where you are, that means that you've got to put out about 63 proposals. 63. So you've got to go meet with 63 people in hopes to get 25 if you're closing 40%. And here's the next question. How many prospects do you need to talk to in order to have 63 opportunities for proposals? You can see where we're going with this. It creates it more actionable because now we're talking about one, specific numbers, and two, we're figuring out really what the action is. And we're not there yet, but we're getting close. So we know that you've got to get 63 opportunities for proposals. How many prospects do you need to talk to? Well, let's just, for this example, say that about 30% of your prospects are ready to buy, meaning they're hiring you or they're hiring somebody else. They really want to do a remodel and this 10K, let's call it a garage organization thing. So they really want to do that. 30% of your prospects are ready to buy. That means that you've got to contact 180 plus people that you can consider prospects to even get to the space where you could consider getting 25 jobs, assuming that's your closing ratio. But what did we do there? Right? We broke it down into an actionable task. And the actionable task is we got to talk to 180 plus prospects. We can bite into that. We can say, all right, so if I want to do that in a quarter, excuse me, there are 90 days in a quarter. So how many prospects do I need to talk to per day? Well, the simple math would be 2, but if you want 2K, you got to finish all those jobs every single time, which if you're doing a garage organization, you might be able to do in a week. I don't know. I'm not in that business. But it's very actionable in the number of prospects that you've got to touch on a daily basis. That way you can know you're on track or you're off track. And if you focus on the actions enough and your skill set is high enough, particularly in this situation about sales, then you will be able to take home another 50K in income this quarter. This is how it works. But knowing that finding the action, finding the thing that you can actually do, and by the way to figure this out is, could I do it tomorrow if I needed to? And if you can't answer the question, yes, I could do it tomorrow if I needed to, then you're not small enough yet in terms of your breakdown, and it's got to go even a step further to be able to find the action. But the real magic of this is finding the first domino action that will cause all the other dominoes to fall. In the example I just gave you, it's the number of outbound sales calls to prospects. at least 180 to get the 63 opportunities for proposal, to get the 25 contracts, to get the 50K. Right? That's the first domino. Your first domino is marketing. We'll worry about fulfillment. We'll worry about sales later. Right now, you've got to worry about getting that first domino to fall, because if that one doesn't fall, I can guarantee you the rest of them will not. And you're going to go quarter after quarter where you're like 5 quarters in a row, I'm still trying to hit the same target, because you're looking at the target, not the action that produces the target being hit. Right. So where is this spot? This is simply a business-focused podcast today. So let's not worry about body. Let's not worry about balance. Let's not worry about being. Let's just talk about business. Where in your business do you need to make one of your goals actionable? By breaking it down into tasks that can be accomplished every single day. And it's not a repetitive task where we're going to do this every single day in order to achieve the result, though it could be. For the most part, you're going to have something, it's going to finish, and then you're going to move on to the next thing. But breaking it down into actionable steps is the key to you actually producing the results. All the people you know that are running as fast as you want to run, as fast as you feel like your business should go, are all doing this. If you got a competitor that keeps on eating your lunch, they're doing this and you're not. That's all it is. So where in your business do you need to focus on the actions that are producing the result versus the result itself? All right, guys, that is it. That is the show for today, everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give me a subscribe. And if you're listening to this on your podcast platform, whatever platform you're listening to this on, please subscribe to the show. There are 3 of these things that come out every single week. They're all between 10 and 12 minutes long, and they're all designed to give you some perspective and give you an action to take. Remember, that's the cost of listening to the show. Take an action to improve your life based on what you heard in the episode in the next 24 to 48 hours. All right, guys, I'm going to do my job and come back next time. I want you to do your job, and you come back too.